start with our top story this afternoon around protests across the country. Our reporters Karinda, Jagmohan in KwaZulu-Natal, Ahmed, Kajee in Pretoria, and Zikhona, Tshona in the Eastern Cape. Let's begin in Phoenix, near Durban, where the DA has handed over a memorandum at the local electrical depot after experiencing power outages for several weeks. Karinda, Jagmohan has been monitoring those developments since this morning and joins us now with the latest. Karinda, the last time we spoke, the DA was asking for authorities to come and receive that memorandum. What's happened since?
Indeed, while a memorandum has since been handed over, this to an employee of the department, not necessarily a high official, a management or a manager within the department, but still the memorandum has been handed over. This has a list of concerns mentioned by the DA. Let's speak to the DA leader in KZN, Francois Rogers. So thanks for speaking to us. Of course, you have a number of demands, but just tell us about what your councillors have told you about the situation here.
Well, the situation here, and we're talking about Phoenix, Verulam and Tongaat, the situation is that officials don't respond. When there's water outages, when there's electricity outages, we get no response. There's very poor response from the officials. And of course, when we escalate it up to the level of the mayor, we get really no assistance whatsoever. And I think this is just indicative of the anger of the people building up in the community with the persistent poor delivery of services.
From the provincial side, because that's where you are based, are there discussions about what's happening on the ground here? Are people speaking about this?
There's no discussions that I'm aware of. Again, at a provincial level, we engage the MEC of Kokta. We highlight the crisis that the community is facing here, but there seems to be no political appetite from the ANC MEC to address the ANC problem that exists in eThekwini.
About the demands you have and that you would be back in 7 days, I understand?
Well, the demands are quite simple. The mayor himself has admitted that there are staff in eThekwini who are missing in action. So we've told him that. He's now admitted it. And we're saying get rid of those staff members. If there are people here who aren't doing their job or can't do their job, get rid of them. And we're also saying that unless we have a plan of how they're going to address these challenges, we're going to continue this rolling mass action until the community gets what it deserves.
Just finally, give us an idea of the state of Durban, the wider region.
Sorry?
Just give us an idea of the state of Durban as it is, as a resident yourself.
Well, you know, it was a city to be proud of, Durban. It was a holiday destination. It was a destination for economic development. You can drive anywhere in the city now and see the decay that's taken place. So it's collapsed. It's a city that's an absolute collapse, and there seems to be no ambition or appetite to be able to address these problems.
Thank you very much for your time. So this is the DA leader, Francois Rogers. We'll show you the residents behind them. Of course, many are wearing DA T-shirts, but this is a DA constituency. The residents, many of them have come themselves here. You'll see behind us there are a number of residents without T-shirts, and they essentially have come because they feel that they might get answers from the management of these various depots. This is now the water and sanitation depot, just about 3 minutes away from where we were earlier, where another memorandum would be handed over. All of these demands are ultimately to have employees who are not doing their work removed from those positions so that service delivery can come through, because many residents, like we've been speaking over the past day, say they're living without electricity and water for prolonged periods of time, and it's impacting their daily lives, especially for the elder residents and children.
Karinda, Jagmohan live to us from Phoenix near Durban. So from KwaZulu-Natal to the Eastern Cape now, where residents of Komani say they will return to the streets should they not get a positive response from the government. They met with the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs MEC in the province, Zolile Williams, insisting that they want their municipality dissolved. Our reporter, Zikhona Tshona, joins us now from Komani. Zikhona, you have been speaking to residents since yesterday about what issues they have around service delivery. They've met with the authorities there. What's the plan now?
So they've given government 5 days to respond to their grievances threatening that if they don't get a favorable response or a response that favors their demands, they will return to the streets. But I just want to touch on this. A very important part of this community, a network of this community, is sport. This community loves the sport of rugby, and it's very disappointing. Since arriving here, we've seen many unkept sporting fields. We've seen a museum that has been vandalized and destroyed, community halls that are meant to be servicing the people in this area should they want to meet, to do things together, even if it's arts and crafts. They are no longer operating. Behind me is a rugby field, and a number of teams rely only on this rugby field. This area that we have moved to now is called New Rest. And the community is just saying that the municipality is not fair on young people here, because young people here are interested in sport. They want to find themselves with things to do after school in particular, and there are people that are professionals in sporting activities in Queenstown and are willing to offer their coaching skills to young people here. And with the conditions behind us, it's simply difficult to do. Just a short while ago, we were at a school, the same conditions the sporting grounds are. But I want to grab the community leader who is invested in cultivating the culture of sport in Queenstown, Jerome Jansen. When you look at this, are you inspired to continue with the work that you do with your coaching of rugby and training young people in sport?
No, I'm very disappointed in what's happening here in Queenstown, also with our playing fields. We are 3 rugby teams that's relying, actually 4, Breakers, Collegians, Progress and Shining Stars. We're all playing different leagues on this sporting field. So there's no facilities here anymore. There's no fencing. Everything is damaged. No clothing rooms, nothing. So everything is going down here in this community. There's no sport facilities for our young people.
Just look at me, please, sir. And then if you can just tell me, you are also part of the ones that took to the street from this community of New Race as well as Victory Park. What are you hoping will come out of that high-numbered protest coming out of Queenstown that we saw on Thursday as well as Friday?
Yeah, I'm begging the thing that we are supporting, that we want this council to be, it must be dissolved, and we want a new municipality as soon as possible.
All right, thank you so much. That's Mr. Jerome Jansen, who is a man who loves sport and is sharing his passion for rugby with young people here in Queenstown, or Komani rather. But these are the conditions that he has to do his work under, and it's simply saying it's not fair that the municipality doesn't seem to care about the upliftment of people in finding alternatives for young people to not turn to drugs or alcohol, but to rather turn to sport after school, over the weekend, during the school holidays. So they are hoping that whatever comes out of their protests, they are hoping for change. They are hoping for better facilities. Huge part of culture. Next, we are going to be going to that museum that has been left damaged. Something that was supposed to be used as a learning tool to encourage people from Komani to go there and learn about the history of their town has now been left and damaged, neglected, damaged, and simply not usable for its purpose.
Yeah. Zikhona, Tshona, live to us from Komani, now from the Eastern Cape to Gauteng, now in Pretoria, where residents in Soshanguve are dismayed about poor service delivery in the area, mostly around electricity and water supply. The community has had unreliable water supply since the start of the year, which had affected schooling in the area. Ahmed Kajee has been speaking with some of the residents and joins us now. Ahmed, thank you for also making time. What have the residents there been telling you?
Thanks very much, Clement. Residents have raised their grievances around the lack of water supply. And just before I take you, just the reason I'm going to step out of shot immediately is the water tanker, which normally comes through to this particular community, has been here for about 45 minutes or so, providing water probably to around 100 people who have actually come through. Many coming through with buckets, with whatever vessels they possibly can to at least carry water to their homes as well. But given the size of that tanker and given the number of households which are actually in this area, there still needs to be many more of these tankers to come through for adequate water supply in this particular area as well. I'm going to bring you to the conversation, Councillor Mashapa, who is within the area. Councillor, thanks very much for your time. Just take us through some of the water situations, what water context we find ourselves in this particular area.
No, thanks. Thanks to residents and also thanks to the viewers. I think there's a huge challenge that we are facing as community of Ward 35, especially since I was a councillor, because this thing is not starting only the past 7 days. It's been happening for almost 3 years or plus. Having these water tankers is one of the issues that community are facing in most part of Ward 35. I can tell you now, school during the week, they go home early, around 9 o'clock, clinics. There's a clinic around our area, it's Maria Ronto. They're not working because the issue is the toilet. They can't even use the toilet because of these water issues. And then when we're asking questions to the municipalities, we get answers that are not permanent answers and are not even solutions. Because of now, the residents are very angry. They need solutions towards these issues that we are facing. I can tell you now, the households that are around Ward 35, it's almost 7,000 households. They're only bringing 5 trucks. And then I can tell you, by today in the evening, there will be no water because of some of them, they went to work. When they're coming back, they need water. So they're also putting us as councillors in a sense that us as councillors were not working. I can even say, yesterday, I slept late around 11 o'clock, giving people water. So it's one of those issues that our municipalities have failed us. And if we have a mayor that call himself a mayor in this city, he was supposed to be in the ground with us as councillors and also the MMC, because if you can't be facing these issues, but the leader of the township is Tshona, he's not here.
Sorry, Councillor, sorry to interject. We spoke to a few of the elderly people in the community. They may not be able to make their way to a water tanker that arrives here. Are there any provisions for them?
Yesterday, I have one NP 200 that I went to some of the houses, even though I couldn't take as much as I can buckets, but I was delivering them those waters. But I can tell you, I didn't cover anyone, because it's a problem of going to them with the smaller quantity of trucks that are giving to us. And then the other challenge that we are facing here is the issue of electricity. I can tell you now, as we speak, it's not the issue of load shedding. We don't have electricity. It's almost 6 hours now, not having any electricity. So it's what we are facing as residents of Ward 35. I've been fighting for it since I was in this position as a councillor. Yeah. So I also want to wrap up. Can please community of Ward 35, let's work together and try to remove whatever that we are facing in this municipality, because I can tell you this municipality, DA collusion is not taking us anywhere where we're going to live a better life. Thank you.
Councillor, thanks very much for your time. Indeed, there you have it, Clement. Perhaps some representation and some response coming through from the councillor in the area. Just to recap what some of the residents have been saying, they say that they are going days on end without adequate water supply. They have, perhaps washing to take care of. They need to flush their toilets. They need to cook and just clean as well in their households, and that just isn't possible. And for the people who are elderly or perhaps even disabled, they can't make their way through to a place such as this one where they actually can collect water. This truck comes maybe once or twice a day, as we heard the councillor say, and it just is not adequate enough to bring enough water for the community as well. So in terms of what we are expecting in this particular community, it's expected to go on into the new week as well, with the challenges, especially for the schools in the area, having to close between probably having a half or a quarter day as well, simply due to the fact that there is no water. And if there is, with the Georgia tanks, the residents say that because there's no electricity, the pumps aren't sending water into the pipes with that reserve water as well. So it seems that both the electricity and water challenges in this community is perhaps sending them into deep challenges heading into the new week. and potentially into the next few months as well. Clement.
Yeah, no, really. Thank you so much to our reporters covering protests across the country. Ahmed, Kajee, live to us from Soshanguve in Pretoria. We had Zikhona Tshona in Komani in the Eastern Cape, and Karinda Jagmohan, who was live to us from Phoenix in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's